What's good, everybody? It's your boy Rob. I'm back with another video. Yeah, I got here in front of me the Galaxy A51 and I got the Note 9. Now my Note 9 recently has just gotten the update to Android 10 with Samsung's One UI 2.0. Both phones have the same software on there. Now you may be asking yourself, why are both of these phones being compared? Well, I'm here to, talk over a situation that a friend asked me at work. Is it better to buy a used Samsung flagship or go for a budget model? And as I tried to explain to my friend, they both have its advantages and disadvantages. Now, for example, let's start with the build quality. First up, the A51. Now, the A51 does come with Gorilla Glass 3. I told them to have a plastic back, plastic frame, but one of the advantages is dual SIM. Now, it's a 6.5-inch 1080 AMOLED panel with an 87% screen-to-body ratio, which is a nice size display. And it's about 405 PPI, and the form factor may be a little bit more comfortable than the Note 9. Next up, try to explain to him about like software and internal storage. Now this phone starts off at 64 gigabytes, but you're more than likely to find the 128 with the 4 gigs of RAM. I did tell him that there was a 6 gigs of RAM, but it just seemed to be very hard to find. The camera itself, you have 4 separate cameras in comparison to what the Note 9 brings to the table. I try to explain to him, don't get all wrapped up in the megapixels. It's just a matter of taking quality pictures. I did tell him that, it does have a 48 megapixel, 12 megapixel, and 2 5 megapixel cameras. And it can shoot 4K at 30 frames per second, 1080, 30 frames per second. I'm going off the top of my head here. And it does have a bottom firing speaker. So the disadvantage that I try to explain to him is that this phone is what they call a GSM only phone. So depending on its carrier, this phone is somewhat limited at where you can use it at. Now, the price of this phone in comparison to where I've seen on the Note 9, you get a better price with this. As low as $290, as high as $330, somewhere around that range. So from a price standpoint, from what I've seen with the Note 9, I've seen the Note 9 still coming in at a little over $300. I've seen it as high as $403, and I've seen it as low as just $300. So the price can be somewhat of a similar situation. I did try to explain it does have what they call an in-display fingerprint sensor, whereas the Note 9 has the old school fingerprint on the back. And in a lot of ways, a lot of people are more used to that particular fingerprint style than the glass one, because the glass in-display fingerprint can be somewhat buggy, especially with if you have some kind of screen protector on there or something like that, like which I do have on this phone. It does make the fingerprint work a little somewhat buggy. From a video standpoint, they're both, if I had to pick from a video standpoint, I will pretty much go with the Note 9. Pictures is pretty close, but I will still go with the Note 9 as far as pictures. And the build quality, I will probably go with the Note 9. Now, the Note 9 does have a 6.4-inch display. It has Gorilla Glass 5 in comparison to the 3. It is IP68 dust and water resistant. You got the S Pen, which is the determining factor depending on how you feel about using it. It does have 6.4-inch display with an 83% screen to body ratio. So as far as displays, the A51 has the bigger display. You do You are rocking the Snapdragon 845, which in my terms is way better than the Exynos chip that's inside of this one. This 845 still rocks out pretty cool, and you do have a better starting point with 128 gigabyte, and it can max out to about 512. Now, they do have a dual 12 megapixel camera, which can pretty much handle the same amount of picture styles or picture quality that you get with the A51. You can get the wide, you get telephoto, you get all of that with these two cameras. Pretty much the same thing as you can get with the 4 cameras with the A51. From you do also got Samsung Pay, which works pretty well on this phone. What else? From a build standpoint, like I said, way better. Both phones do have headphone jacks. Both phones USB Type-C, but the speakers on the Note 9 better than the A51. Now, you do have a separate Bixby button, whereas with the A51, the Bixby and the power button share double duty. Now, from a battery standpoint, the Note 9 has a 4,000 milliamp battery, and the A51 have a 4,000 milliamp battery. So in the long run, if I had to pick one, I would be willing to pay the extra money for the Note 9 over the A51 for a few other reasons. That you're more likely to have it available with more carriers. You will have the ability that it'll work better in the US. You have a better chip processor. But if you're a software person, this may be the last software update you will get ever for the Note 9. Whereas the A51 may be fortunate enough to get another year or two in support. So those are the trade-offs. Again, if you're a software person and you're looking for more updates, you may get it with the A51. Whereas with the Note 9, you get all the features that the S Pen brings to the table, better camera quality, better build quality, and overall a much more high quality feel in comparison to the plastic build on the A51. Who knows? But if the Note 9 will get any more software updates, I kind of figure it's at the end of the road when it comes to that. Other than that, that pretty much does it. My little quick comparison about which one I think, if you had a choice to get, that I would recommend to you. I would recommend the older flagship over the new hotness in the mid-range. So if you have any questions or different opinions, leave those down below. I'd like to know what you guys think. Other than that, if you like this video, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I'll catch you in the next video. I'm out.